Hi there! Today you'll learn how to use the function LEN, which counts the total number of characters in a text string. We'll cover a few interesting examples, including how to eliminate spaces from your text string and how to use that function as part of a workaround when the command /fill is not working in your spreadsheet. Make sure you watch the entire video. Let's start! Before we start with the examples, let's define the function len. Len stands for length, and it's an Excel function that serves to return the total number of characters in a text string. The len function will consider the spaces and punctuation, but it will ignore the format of the text. The only argument it requires is the text you are working with. That being said, let's get started with example 1. In this example, we have a list of names and we want to know how many characters there are in each name. So let's go to cell C4 and insert the function len. Then select the text, which in this case is cell B4, close brackets and press enter. The result will be 14. If we expand this function, we will have the number of characters for the rest of the names as well. Now let's see what happens when we are working with formatted text. In this example 1, as you can see, we also have a monthly salary for each of the names. If we try the len function for cell D4 to get the number of characters, the result is 4, even though we have a pound symbol, a thousand separator, and the decimals. If we expand the formula to the rest of the rows, the result is also 4 for all of them. That's because the len function doesn't take the text format into account, so keep this in mind. Let's continue with example 1 to learn how to get the number of characters with and without spaces. Let's start by going to cell F11 to insert the len function. Then select the entire array of names from B4 to B8. Close brackets, press enter, and you get an array with number of characters from the list of names of the table above. This procedure is very useful as it allows us to make calculations for an entire array if we can't add a helper column right next to our dataset. Now let's get the number of characters with spaces. First, copy the len function after the equal sign from the first cell here. Then go to cell C11 and insert the function SUMPRODUCT. Paste the len function to use it as the argument array1, close brackets and press enter. The result is 73. This is how we can work with arrays when using the len function. Now we can delete this temporary array. If you need to get the number of characters without spaces, you must work with the substitute function. So let's go to cell F11 and insert that function. For the text argument, you need to select the entire range of names from B4 to B8. Press comma, and then for the old text argument, you need to open quotation marks, add a space, and close quotation marks. Press command and then add 2 quotation marks as the new text argument. What you are doing here is basically replacing the space with no space, so we can get a list of names without any spaces on them. Close brackets and press enter, and this list will be generated for you. Next, let's edit the substitute function by embedding the function len after the equal sign and adding another bracket at the end. Press enter and now we have the number of characters without spaces for the entire array. To finish this up, let's copy the entire function after the equal sign and go to cell C12. There you need to insert SUMPRODUCT and paste the function len to use it as the argument array1. Close brackets, press enter, and the result is now 68. This can be quite useful when you need to work with sentences in Excel where you have restrictions around the maximum number of characters you can use, so keep this tip in mind. The command /fill is very useful because it allows us to extract a specific piece of data from a sentence. However, in certain situations, like in this example 2, it might not work. Here we have a dataset and we need to extract the purchase year from each input. In each data point, the first number represents the month, and the next 4 numbers represent the year. Of course, some months have 2 digits, like 11 for November and 12 for December, which makes it less logical for Excel to understand a pattern. So let's go to cell H4 and type 2023, then type 2024 in cell H5. This is how we would normally start extracting the purchase year for each data point. If we expand this to the rest of the rows and click on Flash Fill, Excel will automatically extract the data, but as you can see, we get lots of errors. Why? Because our dataset is not standardized, so Flash Fill doesn't work in this case. Now let's delete all this. To fix the issue, we must find a common element in our dataset that we can use as a reference. Before that, let's start by going to cell I4 to enter the function LEN, just so we extract the total characters of this first name. Close brackets, press enter, and the result is 18. Then expand that function to the rest of the rows. We'll work with this function in a minute. Now, if you look at this table, you can see a common element in our database is the hyphen, which is located after each variable year. So let's use the find function in cell J4 to help us here. For the argument find text, you need to open quotation marks, press hyphen, and close quotation marks. The next argument is within text, so select cell G4 and press comma. Then add the start number argument, which refers to the position from left to right where the assessment will be done. So let's start with number 1. Close brackets, press enter, and the result is 15. So pay attention, that number 15 represents the position of the hyphen in the first row. Now expand the function to the rest of the rows. Now let's go to cell K4 to get the difference between these two numbers. So the first result is 3, and we can also expand this formula down. This column represents the number of characters we find from right to left after the hyphen, which is our reference point. The next thing to do is to combine the functions. So copy the function len after the equal sign and use it to replace I4 here. Then copy the function find and use it to replace J4 here after the minus sign, and make sure to copy this nested function after the equal sign. Next, let's go to cell H4 and insert the right function, which tells Excel to extract a certain number of characters to the right of a sentence. For the argument text, select cell G4. Press comma and paste the nested function we just copied as the number of characters argument. The result is XPT because the function right is looking at the last 3 letters of the input we choose. This is because in this case there are 3 characters after the hyphen. So if we go back to the formula and we add 1 at the end, the result will now also include the hyphen. And if we add 5 instead of 1, we'll also get the entire year, which is composed of 4 digits. Let's expand this to the rest of the rows and delete the helper columns. Now we can do the same thing with the function left, which extracts a certain number of characters to the left of a sentence. So let's go back to this formula and insert the function left after the equal sign. The text argument will be the formula we already have in place. The second argument must be 4, as we need the 4 digits which makes a year. We can then press enter and expand this function down to complete this task. So keep this procedure in mind as a workaround when the flash fill is not working in your dataset. The function len is usually used as part of other functions, such as in the example covered in this video. Now let me know in the comments section below where you might be able to use that function at work. If this video was good for you, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, because it helps the channel to keep producing more videos like this. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. All the best and see you in the next video.